Hey, what's up guys? thyAshes here bringing you another video, and today I'm going to be talking about casters and Gears of War. So first off, I'm going to start with a disclaimer that I do still have a cold, so I'm going to do my best to keep it together and not cough and edit whatever coughs I have to cough out. Does that make sense? I'm going to do my best to keep it clean and do some honest critiquing and criticism of the casters, specifically from the last event, the Gears of War Gfinity London Open event. So being that I've been in esports for a while, there are some casting duos that are some of the greats for me. The main two duos that come to mind are the duo of Monte Cristo and Doa from League of Legends. For those of you who don't know, they casted the OGN Korean League of Legends Pro League and tournaments for several years, and were honestly one of my favorite casting duos of all time. And the other one that I don't have as much experience with, but I did really enjoy their cast, was the Tasteless Artosis duo, or Tastosis for those of you who are familiar with them. And they come from StarCraft. But due to how familiar with them I am, I'm going to talk about Monte Cristo and Doa just because I have the most amount of experience watching those two cast. So what are some of the things that makes this duo such a strong casting duo? Well, first off, they always casted together. It was always those two working together, never anybody else unless there was like an absolute emergency where somebody was filling in. This allowed Doa and Monte Cristo to build up a lot of really good synergy between each other and allowed them to become friends. And when you have friends casting, it's almost like the same kind of thing that you see when you have friends on the team. Their duo, like the ability to be a duo and to feed and give and take off of each other, really helps improve the quality of the show, and in their case, the quality of their cast. So this led to friendly and fun banter when a match might not be so entertaining or so complex that they have to focus so intently on it. That would still entertain the crowd, and then allowed them to kind of digress a little bit while still in their job and on stream.
Here in Korea, just been an absolute huge success here in Seoul, and it's fun to see. I mean, you walk into PC Bong these days, it's just
everybody's playing it.
Everybody's playing it.
Yeah, pretty much. It's fun. I'd be playing it right now if I wasn't casting this. Probably. Yeah.
It's okay. Watching people who are far better than us is more fun anyway, Doa.
To a certain extent.
For me.
To you, maybe. To you. I like watching the pros as well. I like to get in there and like throw orbs at people. I still play Zenyatta.
Yeah,
He's still good. He's still good. You just can't nano boost people. That's his problem.
Yeah, well, I mean, as much as we'd like to see you play with your balls on this stream, we're not actually going to
No, I just like to put them in other... Never mind. Never mind. We're going to stop right there. We're moving on to a very serious portion of the tournament. Let's take a look at our teams for match number 1. Oh, we're back, Monty. We're back.
In this duo, you had both roles of the traditional caster covered. You had the color commentator, which is basically the hype man. This is the guy that gives the play-by-play and the guy who is making you excited to watch whatever is happening on your screen. This goes from making pro players who are watching in and scouting their competition excited to the average viewer excited to watch it. Then on the other side of that, you had Monte Cristo, and Monte Cristo's job was to be the analytical caster. So he would break down the actions or the plays that you saw on screen and explain to the audience why they were so good or why they were so bad. And, his critiquing was harsh sometimes, but it was also correct. So teams that could watch the rebroadcast could also kind of learn from their mistakes, and it allowed players to gain a good understanding of the game that they were watching and maybe some advanced tactics, because a lot of people do watch pro competition to be able to be like the pros, to be able to compete at that level. It's a learning experience for a lot of people. I also want to give a shout out to a lot of other League of Legends casters like Freak and Jat and Rivington, who are doing an excellent job of explaining League of Legends at the beginning of a cast almost every single time, which allows for any potential new viewers to come in to understand the basics of what are happening, which is really important. Even for a game of League of Legends size, you want to be able to explain to the new viewers, and the off chance that there are new viewers, how to understand the game, how to really grasp what they're watching. This is how you attract new audiences and keep them coming back for more, because once they start to get invested in the game and understanding the game, it becomes more entertaining for them to watch. So let's talk about the Gears of War casters right now. Right now, we have, I think, 4 main casters. We have Guy Blaze, we have Fallout, who are 2 long-standing community members of Gears of War. They were former pros and all-around good guys. We have Benson, who's come over from the Call of Duty community and a well-known MLG caster. And we have Toby, who's kind of worked his way up from the amateur casting and is now getting his opportunity to be amongst the big dogs, so to speak, in the casting world. And he's doing an excellent job at it. And I want to say, knowing all these guys personally, they are good guys and they are very knowledgeable about the game. And I don't mean this video to be an attack at them, but an honest critique of their casting and how I think it could be an improved experience for everybody involved. So I had a long talk with Toby one day about the idea of a casting duo and the idea between the color and analytical commentators that are in casting duos and how that could be applied to Gears of War, because that was one of his concerns, is he didn't really know how you could fit in proper analysis of a play when there's so much happening and a round could last 3 minutes. And my point was that there is a lot of downtime where that could be filled. You have time between plays, you have the entire weapon select screen, and you have the loading screens between rounds. So there's a lot of time to get the key points of why a round was won or lost, or some of the major plays, as well as the ideas or the thought process behind a weapon placement and how the strategy can then change from there. So what I want to do is I want to show you guys a clip from the Gears of War Gfinity London Open, and the casting duo in this, I believe, is Benson and Toby, and I want to show you guys how they used some of that free time.
5-3 up. I will not be a happy L for Epsy. That will not be a happy L.
I don't think there is such thing as a happy L. You ever had a happy L? Oh, here's an L.
We played good. Don't worry about it, guys.
I mean, unless you're an AM team going against OpTic Gaming, you're like, we played well. Oh, the sniper. They're hovering the sniper. Oh. Yeah. Never mind. I got excited. I thought, maybe.
Well,
so excited. Do it.
I think it was you and Blaze before on a Gears Fight Night.
Ensign's top Pistons. Again, Ensign's top Pistons. That will be.
How do you feel about that, Ben?
I mean, you're putting...
All right, so as you guys can see, that was an utter waste of free time. So again, I want to say a disclaimer that before I go into this, I don't want this to be an attack at anybody or an insult to anybody. This is purely constructive criticism and my personal opinion. So in that clip, we see roughly 30 to 40 seconds of time where they're making noises rather than giving any kind of insight onto what's going on. We may have new viewers tuning into this match where we have Echo Fox versus Epsilon, two big teams, a top 3 team arguably from North America and the #1 team from Europe. So realistically, this cast should be all action and all analysis because it's just that hype of a matchup. You have a top 3 versus a top 1 rivaling countries or regions. This should be a good matchup. And instead, we're getting noises. And obviously I've picked one clip, and to be honest with you guys, all I did was click a random spot in Sunday's rebroadcast, listened for 5 minutes, and I found this clip. It's not like I went hunting through the entire rebroadcast. Obviously I didn't want to take any clips and sound biased from our matches, so taking it from this match felt more fair for my argument. And I want people to go back and watch the casting from our matches because there were some really questionable things said or just lack of entertainment value during those casts. But I don't want to pick on those because obviously I'm coming from one of those teams, so I might sound biased. But please feel free to go back and listen and pay attention to those casts and the information or the energy that was provided. So in this time frame of this clip, you can see a lot of things taking place that could be talked about. We have an entire first round that could be summarized, and to be honest, the round was actually fairly close, and it came down to a 3-cap near the end of the round, if I believe. We also have an entire weapon placement process taking place in front of us that could be explained. We have a strategy that could be changing based off that weapon placement that's not being discussed. So there's a lot of analytical things that could be covered, and we have a good duo here. We have Benson, who could provide great color commentary during the round, and we have Toby, who could provide great analytical commentary during the open time, the free space, but that's not really taking place here. So I wanted to use this as an example to showcase how that could happen. So I'm going to re-show the clip, and I'm going to mute it, and I'm going to personally take the place. Obviously, I have a cold, and I'm not a great commentator. I'm not saying that by any means. It's more just the content that I want to give you guys during that section that is my point. Not actually that, I'm not trying to prove that I'm better because I don't think I am. I think they're much better at their jobs than I could ever be. but hopefully the content is the point that you guys see here. So let's take a look at that. And what a great round we had coming out of Echo Fox there. They did manage to make that push at the last minute, so it's going to really put Epsilon in a interesting position. They do have frag grenades over at Statues, so we might see them want to set up some sort of power weapon over at Welding and Fountains, or perhaps even a boom shot over at Pistons to maybe diverse attention away from the Statue, since it seems like they're struggling to either maintain that setup and hold that setup during the duration of the round when they do have the advantage. So if we see them put something over there, perhaps we could see them make some sort of push and a home-to-home sort of play rather than just fighting for Statue, which seems to be a losing fight. Now, they have placed down Ensign, so this could lead into some interesting strategies. Benson, tell me what you think about this. So as you guys see, there's a lot of information that can be provided during that blank space, that area of time where there's not really anything being covered, and the analysis can be broken down. I think that some of the issues that we see during the cast for Gears of War are storylines are often made up and forced, and they're not legitimate or genuine. And I think that the casters need to be doing a better job of getting to know the teams and the players and studying the teams and the players and taking notes of statistics and stuff like that, so that the analytical casters can be like, well, you know, OpTic has a 8-0 or 8-1 record on Foundation and average, 7-2 victory or 7-5 victory, or Echo Fox is extremely strong on Foundation, one of the top teams to take maps or rounds off of OpTic, things like that, like actual information that could provide some kind of compelling interest. Like as a viewer, if I'm sitting down and I'm watching Echo Fox versus Epsilon, right? Like I want to know the details of like why this map might have been picked. I want to know the details of, getting invested into why Echo Fox has a good chance on this map, or why Epsilon has a good chance on this map. I want to know why this is going to be a good matchup. I don't want to know what noises you can make with your mouth. I think on top of that, there's a lot of player storylines. There's a lot of rivalry storylines that could be exemplified and promoted. And instead we get a lot of made up storylines or made up promotion that isn't quite as accurate as we want. And I understand the idea of wanting to enthrall new viewers into the experience that is Gears of War, but I think we're overdoing it some, and we need to let them know like the true stories behind these players, because there are some great stories behind these players and these teams, and that can be shown and explained to the audience and capture them into that aspect of esports rather than making up information. And sadly, I don't have any examples right here, and I'm not going to call out any specific caster on these kind of mistakes, but hopefully the message gets across to those who need to hear it. One of the final things I want to talk about in this video, and in almost one of the most important things, is the lack of unbiased casting that we see in general. And I've been talking about this for a while, and for example, there was a point where we played Team Envy, and one of the casters who was casting that match said, "We only need one round," and I'm saying a quote right here, "We only need one round to defeat OpTic Gaming," and at that point we weren't OpTic Gaming. So the caster was literally putting himself as a part of that team with that sentence, and maybe that was unintentional, but that kind of slip shouldn't be a thing that comes across a professional cast. It shows how biased that caster was towards Envy. And honestly, I have no issue with a caster making a prediction for Envy or OpTic or eUnited or any other team. Predictions are fun. Predictions are entertainment and filler. But the prediction should be cut off, and then the casting should start, and it should be unbiased. The same energy should be brought to every single play that's made, no matter which team it's made by. If you guys go back and watch the rebroadcast of eUnited versus us in the London Open Grand Finals, whenever eUnited made a play, it was a fantastic hype play. Whenever we made a play, it was business as usual kind of thing. And that's the kind of thing that I don't want to see, because it encourages the audience to start favoring other teams. And obviously I'm a little bit biased here. I'd like my guys to get the appreciation that they deserve. And the casters did do a lot of things right. But then again, this is just an honest critique, and how it felt watching the rebroadcast was that it was very one-sided in terms of how the casters felt. I mean, I understand the concept of wanting, you know, or favoriting the underdogs and the underdog story. And A United was definitely the underdog story for that tournament in terms of, you know, taking down the OpTic powerhouse. But that shouldn't be reflected in the actual casting. It can be part of the story, but being part of the story and being the tone of the casters are two completely different things. And this has happened for multiple matches with multiple teams, not just us. It's happened with European versus NA matches where the European casters show favoritism towards the European teams, and that's also understandable, but not quite appropriate. So I hope that this critique comes across how I intended to, and I'm more than happy to answer questions about this, especially to the casters themselves, and be able to discuss this openly with them. To the rest of you guys, let me know what your thoughts are down in the comments below. Maybe I'm completely wrong. I don't know. It's just, I think it's one of those things that we can continually work on to improve the experience for everybody. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. Make sure to leave a like if you did. And of course, as always, click the subscribe button down below. At the time of recording this, we are like 7 subscribers away from 4K. So that's amazing. Thank you guys so much for the support. And I will see you all in the next video.
Go.